Welcome to Street MBA, where we discuss entrepreneurship from an evidence-based and practical perspective. Our objective being to create a network of business people who are bringing value to their communities. Well, what are we talking about today? We're talking about the other side of the game. I want you to think about that. It's always a negative connotation when we begin to discuss nightlife. However, we know that's essential to our dating lives and our relationships. How do we get to this place where we have all these negative thoughts? So even someone that owns or participates or works in nightlife is seen as someone that is seedy, seen as someone that might be called, quote unquote, a negative hustler. But why do we think that way? That's not really that important. We can't necessarily change how society thinks or what our culture thinks about our businesses. But what we can do is have effective, well-run, and efficient enterprises that the community can use and exploit for their own purposes. However you want to look at it, people need services. People need restaurants. People need a place where they can go and have a drink and unwind. People need places and outlets to express themselves, possibly even dancing or even listening to some live music. So let's make sure we're doing business right in that realm as well. We have an awesome guest that's going to discuss with us nightlife from a perspective that you may not necessarily have had the opportunity or been privy to talk to someone in this type of industry. So we're laying it out for you right now. You're watching Street MBA. I want you to stay tuned because we have some rich content to get to. So stay tuned. You're watching Street MBA.
Hi, I'm Patria Leone. I believe in every single thing that I do, and I want you to do the same. You deserve to look and feel beautiful or handsome. Be empowered. You're entitled to be at your best mind, physical, and financial fitness. As the CEO of Health for Wealth, I've developed a 4-pillar method based on your mindset, overall health and wellness, relationships, and finances. All of these are the foundation of your life, and they integrate whether it's in your business or your personal life. I've been down, and I've had some strong struggles and challenges. And I'm convinced that every habit and behavior creates your choices, and you become the sum of your choices. You want to feel better, look better, eat better, think better, work better, love better, perform better, be better. What are you waiting for? Remember, you have only one life, one body, and one mind. And there's a solution to every circumstance, and it starts with you. It's time for you to take charge and thrive now. Invest in yourself. To schedule your free 30-minute consultation that has every potential to change everything, call now at 602-910-1340 or visit forhealthywealthy.com. You can follow me on Instagram at Patria Leone or follow me on Facebook at Health for Wealth LLC. And don't forget to check out my podcast on YouTube at Health for Wealth.
Welcome back to Street MBA. We're talking about the other side of the game. Well, everybody likes a nice night out on the town, don't they? Just a night just to unwind and relax. Well, I want you to think about, because I want to tell you a little story right now, and I want you to think about my story from the perspective of an entrepreneur. Think about it in reference to the services that are being used. Think about it in reference to the money that's being spent. Think about it in reference to the mindset of the people in the story. There are two characters. The first character is me. This is actually autobiographical. I am not making up any details in this particular scenario. The other person is a lady that I met. I'm going to explain in the midst of the story how I actually met this person. So I went out after a long day at work, and decided I wanted to have a drink and a nice meal after work one night. It was a bit late. It was around 9 or 10 o'clock or so, but that's neither here nor there. While I was there at the bar, eating and drinking, to myself, I met a gentleman and we talked briefly, but for the most part, I was with myself. As the night went on, I actually met a lady that was there. She was a very nice looking woman. We met, we talked, we exchanged phone numbers and began to communicate with each other from that point forward. We just began to text and call each other and just generally get to know each other. After a couple of days of communicating through text, we decided to meet up for some drinks again. We already had one drink together when we first met, but this was actually an opportunity for us to meet up and see each other after a couple of days of having communicated on the telephone. We both have very busy lives, so it's not unnatural that we didn't see each other the very next day. So we went out, pay attention now because we're still talking about entrepreneurship. We went out for a drink, so there was an establishment that we went to. We ate and drank. We actually shared a meal and had a drink. Although we had just planned on having drinks, we were a little hungry, so we had a meal, which was great. Here, I want you to remember this too now. This is a very, very important point. Relationship experts, watch it now. Relationship experts actually suggest that you do 2 date nights a month with your spouse. How's that for marketing? There are dating experts telling people to come to your establishment if you own a restaurant, a lounge, or a club twice a month just to keep their relationship going. But let's stay focused now. So, back to our story. So we went out for food and drink. A couple of days later, we just talking on the phone. It's the weekend now. I think it was a Friday night if I remember correctly. And we were both just sitting around the house. So we said, you know what, hey, you hungry? I'm hungry. Listen, I got my favorite food truck. I got a craving for it. This is me talking. You interested in going with me? She said, sure. So, being the guy that I am, Mr. Good Time, I went ahead and got us a bottle of wine. On my way over to pick her up, we poured a couple of glasses. Before we went out to the food truck, took our little to-go cups with us, went to the food truck, ordered our food, sat around talking while the food was being prepared, had a great time. Of course, we ate. We drank, we were merry. I'm telling you, it was a good time. Second time I spent with that lady. Food truck, wine and drinks, right? Now, the next night, because that was Friday, it was Saturday. Oh man, why not turn up? So we decided, listen, I want to go dance. That's something we discussed while we were out at the food truck. I want to go dance, and you want to go dance. Let's go out to the specific spot that I know about. We can have a good time, do our thing. And that's exactly what we did. Man, we went out, we had drinks. We probably, I don't remember everything that had happened. At some point, we had some food. The night was over, dropped her home. Everything was great. So now it's Sunday, Monday, we talking on the phone, back again with the texting and all that good stuff, just getting to know each other naturally as people do. And listen, I tell you this, the time span had went such so that this has been going on for like 3 weeks. That we had been seeing each other, talking to each other, all this good stuff. But here's a weird conversation that we had a few days later. After everything that we had done, this lady said to me this. She said, hey, you know, I like spending time with you and everything, but we've never gone out on a date. And I said, what? She said, we've never gone out on a date. I said, what do you mean? We've actually been in each other's physical presence 4 times already. We've ate and drank. What are you talking about? We haven't gone, no, we haven't gone on a date. She began to tell me that there were some criteria that had not been met. One of them being that I hadn't planned a date where I actually made a reservation to a restaurant and told her ahead of time where we were going. Another criteria that had not been met is that she had not had to dress up for a date that I had planned previously and she had to be prepared for. That's another reason why she felt that we had not had a date. She then went on to tell me that in order for us to have a real date, I had to pick her up from her home, and I had to drop her off at the end of said date for it to be an official date. So I had to have, also, most likely I would have bought flowers as well. So I have a flower vendor, I have a restaurant to make sure I satisfy in order for her, in her mind, to have a date. That's just how vicious the marketing has been around restaurants, clubs, and lounges. I told you I was going to bring this back around to entrepreneurship. So much so that this lady didn't feel like, although we had spent hours with one another, she felt that we did not have a date. That's just how important nightlife is in the minds of people in our culture. Let's not even talk about relationships and who this person was and all this type of, we can talk about all that stuff and dissect who that person was, because listen, right now you're getting a one-sided story about this particular occasion, right? But one advantage we have here on Street MBA is that we actually have people who are behind the scenes working, and they understand how to not only just have a venue, but how to create what is a good time. How many know there's some science and there's some artistry in creating a vibe? Like we use, the term we like to use nowadays in reference to having a night out on the town. That's what we're going to talk about in a bit more depth, how you get into the hospitality or the nightlife industry. We're going to talk about what it takes to be a club owner. We're going to talk about what it is to be a true nightlife entrepreneur, because you may not have to have an actual club and venue. There's other different ways that you can be involved with that type of industry, involved with nightlife and restaurants, lounges, and clubs. So let's explore it today here on Street MBA. We're coming back with a dynamic interview I want you to be prepared for, so stay tuned. You're watching Street MBA.
Hi, I'm Mike Mogel, the CEO of Clean Sweep Office Cleaning. A clean and disinfected space is essential to keeping your customers and your staff healthy, safe, and productive while preventing the spread of COVID-19. Clean Sweep Office Cleaning, with more than 20 years experience in janitorial, restaurant, post-construction, and floor maintenance cleaning. We really make it shine. We are focused on quality cleaning and wellness in our customer spaces. Our team is professionally trained to ensure not a spot is missed, and we use products that are safe for your property and your people. Our services are tailored to your individual needs and include expert floor care, dusting, sweeping, mopping, vacuuming, detailing, glass cleaning, and deep disinfecting. Our experienced team is here to make your office as comfortable and clean as possible. Visit our website at cleansweepofficecleaning.com or call us today at 832-689-7996. Now that's a clean sweep.
As a critical aspect of your operations, you need the right technology partner to provide you and your business the peace of mind of having reliable and efficient IT systems. In addition, with cyber threats, ransomware at an all-time high, adequate, continuous, and proactive data protection for your business is an absolute must. Hi, this is Roland Parker with Impress Computer Solutions. We are experts in tailored IT solutions and professional 24/7 IT support services. We proactively monitor, maintain, manage, and protect your IT and data assets. Additionally, we have the know-how and horsepower to do the correct procuring of any and all computer systems or software your company may need. Having the correct IT infrastructure and not being able to operate safely and correctly is very expensive and can eventually destroy growth. So take a decisive step and call me today for a complimentary consultation at 281-647-9977 for your unique IT needs.
COVID-19 transformed the way we do business. Now more than ever, fast lead generation and customer retention will determine if a business survives or not. The Now Media Video Business Card is designed to be sent using your smartphone. It's the next generation business card that will open the door for you while keeping social distancing. The Now Media Video Business Card is affordable for anyone from startups to multinational companies and is already being used by hundreds of businesses. Stay open, stay in business. Call us today.
Welcome back to Street MBA. We are discussing the other side of the game. We are talking nightlife in the business of nightlife in reference to entrepreneurship. So I have an illustrious guest. I know I use that adjective quite often here on the show, but listen, these people that I have coming that are willing to come and be on the show and offer up their knowledge to the world, literally, are really, really great people. And I have another great one here, Miss Felicia Drake of Grooves of Houston. We'd like to welcome her to Street MBA. Welcome, Miss Felicia.
Thank you very much. Thanks for having me.
How you doing this morning?
Great. They're doing real good. So far, so good.
So we like to dive right into it here on Street MBA. So my first question for you is, how did you even get involved and what exactly do you do?
I got involved with Grooves strictly by happenstance. It was an opportunity that was dropped in my lap. Before Grooves, I had a marketing company, so it's not something that I've ever considered for the type of business that I'm currently in. However, the opportunity presented itself, and I took it and ran with it.
Okay, so I have a couple of questions for you real quick. So first off, for our audience, what is Grooves? Okay. And then we want to also hear about that marketing company that you talked about that you had before. So what exactly is Grooves?
Grooves is a full-service, multi-use venue. We offer rentals, and we have a restaurant. We do brunch. Nightlife is actually only one aspect of the full service that we do. We've even had things like church. Lighthouse Church has had services at our venue.
Really?
Yes. So we're a full gamut venue. People know us for nightlife, but our venue is extremely functional, and we do so many different things.
So you're telling me that just you're saying it got nothing to do with entrepreneurship, but you're telling me that the church is using the club.
Well,
I know something. Listen, I'm just talking about for some of our religious folks.
Right.
That people actually showed up at Grooves of Houston.
Absolutely.
For a church service.
Absolutely. And that's, to me, I think that was phenomenal, actually. So one of the things that I do a lot, even with my staff and my family, the first thing when they say out of their mouth about us being a club, I say we're not a club. Because we are a venue. We are a full-service venue that does so much more. Now, when the church would come, it was an awesome experience because it was different. It was forward-thinking. They would have brunch during service. Okay. And it was a great opportunity for people in the Third Ward area or the people that couldn't get all the way out to Rankin Road to go to church. And it was interesting because for the backlash that may have come with it from the few handful of people that had something to say, connecting club and church. Right. And I just looked at it as, the greatest commission of a Christian is to bring all men unto Christ. And you reach them where you reach them. And so I appreciated Lighthouse Church for that. They looked beyond and went to the people. Yes.
And that's real. Real. And listen, we could have a whole discussion about how church services not being very different from a concert. We could have a whole. That could be a whole thing.
Yeah, you can go several different ways with that, but if you're working on the main goal is to bring people into Christ, then you bring them how you bring them. You bring them, you catch them where they are. And if it's at Grooves, then it's just at Grooves. And that's a blessing no matter what, to bring another person to meet God, to meet Jesus.
So let me ask you this in reference to that marketing company. What type of marketing were you doing? Who were you working for? Okay. You said you had it yourself, but how did you even get into that side of things in regards to marketing?
Okay, well, ironically, most of our marketing was for churches before I started Grooves.
Are you serious?
Yes. Originally, my brother and I started a company, and it was based around salons and barbershops and things like that, and we did their marketing. We helped them to get exposure. And as people would see the materials that we created for them, they would ask us to do their work, their business cards, their websites, things like that, photo shoots.
So is it because your brother was an artist that you got into the marketing thing, or were you somehow involved with it prior to being involved with your brother?
I was not involved. I worked for Chase. And George,
Really?
George is a graphic designer. He's a creative. He's just a creative.
Okay.
And at one point in time, he decided he wanted to start a business that was more so related to nightlife industry, where he wanted, this is when the internet was very new, like search engines and things like that.
Okay.
So he wanted to design a search engine that was made for finding like club types and party types, type events. And ultimately, he never really moved with that. And then I was traveling. I needed to have my hair done. And I thought, I don't know where to go. You know, at the time, we were still looking at phone books at that time. And I
So
said,
you're talking 90s, early
yeah,
2000s.
definitely. Yeah, definitely. And so I couldn't find a place to get my hair done. I said, I can't be the only person in the world with this problem. So then I started Salon Zone, which was a piggyback off of his Club Zone. And it was a place where people could go to find hair salons, spas, barbershops.
What? You created basically what we would call from old school a Rolodex of salons, and not just in Houston, obviously.
Right, exactly. So the goal was to make it worldwide. And so ultimately, when people would see our work in salons, lawyers, doctors, whatever business they were in, real estate agents, a lot of those, they'd ask us to do their work as well. And originally we were like, no, we just do this as our focus. This is where we're focused. And then ultimately it was like, all of this is fundamentally the same. So we just expanded into other industries as well. And then ultimately Grooves came about, and I thought that I could do both. But Grooves is a monster.
It was a whole monster all by itself.
It's a beast.
So did you start promoting clubs? Was it like like any type of parlay into getting into?
No, it literally, when I tell you, dropped in my lap the opportunity. It is what it was. It was nothing I ever looked forward to. Now, I go to bed at 9 o'clock. So to be up for late is not something I could have ever dreamed of, and my family could have never dreamed of me doing something like this. But I was with someone who was going to open it, then he ended up having to do some other things.
Right.
Said, if this is something you're interested in, go ahead and take it and run with it. And been doing it for 11 years.
What? So I would assume, because my next question is in regard to mentorship, because I haven't met an entrepreneur yet that didn't have a mentor in some type of form that has had any type of success. So was there someone in your life that helped you to be successful in the venue industry?
Well, yes. My landlord's sister is my business manager, and she has helped with the Grooves that was there before me and the other businesses there before me. And so when I started it, she approached me about helping out. So she's my accountability partner. She keeps me on track. She makes sure, and she talks to me just like anybody else, like kind of more like a sister than she does like a professional business person. She's just like, Felicia this, Felicia that, you're dropping the ball. She makes sure
that's
and
what
I
you need in your
literally,
life,
I pay her to hold me accountable. And sometimes when you're in the position of leader, and then who is there to hold you accountable or to make sure that you're on task, and she does do that.
So let me ask you this now. Did you, what was one of the hardest times that you've seen in the club industry?
I would say for this business, the hardest time was early in the beginning. And it's, I'll say this, it's never been easy. But in the beginning, it was the hardest.
So in the beginning of the club, of you working...
And we're not a club.
I'm sorry, the venue.
Yes.
In the beginning of you working the venue, that was the hardest time ever for you.
That was the hardest time ever for me because
I'm sorry for interrupting you, but I wanted to make sure I understood that because we just had the pandemic. And you're telling me that, because from the outside looking in, because I thought this was a softball right here I was throwing to you when I said what was the hardest time.
The pandemic, no.
It was not the pandemic.
2021 was actually our best year. That was the most...
No, you cannot do that.
I'm going to tell you, that was the most urban tourism that Houston has ever seen outside of an All-Star or a Super Bowl or a huge event. Because Texas was open, a lot of people were coming here. So that one of the things we used to complain about in our industry is that for Houston, we don't get urban tourism. So if you go to Miami, you go to Vegas, their nightlife spots are getting
New
a lot of
York,
tourism. So their industry is basically running off of tourism.
Right.
So we are running off of locals. And for years and years, it's been perfectly fine. But the pandemic opened up Houston to more urban tourism than we've ever seen. And it's actually still continuing. So yes, that's where we didn't.
So it's really a thing. So because I was out with a friend recently, and he said to me, just because he goes out a lot more than I do, and he said to me, well, Houston is like Miami now. And I said, well, what do you mean by that? He said, well, people go to Miami just to go hang out.
Yeah.
Well, people are coming to Houston just to hang out now. So most of the people that are standing in line for the venues are people from out of town. I said, now, listen, I know. So one thing, part of Houston culture now, and you've been in Houston most of your life as well, as have I, is that one thing in the professional world today, when you introduce to somebody, one of the first questions you can use for an icebreaker is, where you from? Because most people that you meet in Houston today aren't from Houston.
Right.
So even when people meet you who are not from Houston and you are from Houston, they're actually surprised. Like, oh, I actually get to meet a real Houstonian.
That's true.
So that's a real thing.
Yeah.
So, but from your own experience, it's not just your anecdotal, but you're saying across the industry that people understand Houston is a place to come just to come hang out.
Our brunch, our Saturday and our Sunday brunches are huge. People really love that. And they just come now. Houston has finally been discovered. We've been put on the map for the urban side of things. People would come to Houston all the time for the sports, whatever, the NASA, whatever we had, but we didn't have anything that really drew the urban side. So the pandemic did open us up for that and introduced us to a lot of the country.
Oh, wow. So I have a couple of more questions for you, but we're going to come right back after a commercial break real quick with Miss Felicia Drake from Grooves of Houston. She's going to take us a little bit further on how to sustain a venue business. You're watching Street MBA.
Hey there, thanks for taking time to watch this video. My name is Sherman On. My purpose is to leave a legacy by positively impacting others. I've chosen my career to work at Hotelling Insurance Services. We are a nationally licensed and fully independent risk management family office. Hotelling Insurance Services specializes in developing robust protection strategies to meet the unique needs of our diverse clientele. With over 20 years of experience in navigating the distinct exposures that arise in advanced risk mitigation planning, through our all-encompassing approach, we develop high-level estate and business solutions, employee benefit programs, and property and casualty strategies. If we can be of benefit to you, your family, your business, feel free to reach out to me. You can reach me on my cell phone at 262-271-4411. We look forward to hearing from you and hearing your story. Have yourself a fantastic day. Sherm's out.
If you are looking for someone who can provide stunning photography and videos and knows exactly what it takes to get your listing sold or boost your personal brand, Matt Pierce Photography is your solution. My focus is on helping you make the very best first impression that you possibly can. We help you use images and videos effectively in your brand and marketing design to tell your story. Give your corporate image the presence it deserves. Your headshot and your branding is your first impression with clients and business partners. What message are you sending? At Matt Pierce Photography, we believe that pictures and video make information easier to remember, so it makes your message stick. With clean, sleek, simple, and powerful, well-edited images and videos will make you stand out from the crowd. Get your products or listings sold quicker, and establishing you as an expert, attracting new clientele. We also offer an array of other products and services such as video walkthroughs, property and agent commercial videos, and a full-service video production house to help bring your story to life. See, when you grow, we grow. So let's grow together. Matt Pierce Photography is your solution for your real estate, corporate, branding, or marketing photography and video needs. Take a decisive step on growing your image and telling your brand story. Call me today for a free consultation.
Welcome back to Street MBA. We still have Miss Felicia Drake from Grooves of Houston here with us, and we're diving deeper into our conversation. If you're familiar with our show at all, you know we usually start at one level for the interview, if we got that person to stay for a second segment, baby, we go deeper since she tells me already that she got some hotness for us. She got some street talk for us. So we're going to go back into our conversation in regards to how or what was the toughest time for your business? Because you said it wasn't the pandemic that was difficult for you. Although, listen, hundreds of thousands of businesses lost their pants during the pandemic, but you're surviving actually elevated. So talk to us about when it wasn't so good for Grooves of Houston.
Well, don't get me wrong. The pandemic in the beginning, it was very, very scary for my industry. As a matter of fact, when they shut us all down, when they shut the state down, we had just had a huge concert, Rod Wave, that Saturday. And then that Sunday, we had church.
Okay.
And then after church that Sunday, we had to close, just like everything else in the state had to close. We were sitting in the parking lot maybe sometime during that same week. Two of my managers and myself, we were just sitting in my truck talking outside of the business. And there were only 2 cars parked out there, which were theirs, and we were sitting in mine. And then we had the constables roll up on us like we were doing a drug transaction. It must have been 6 or 7 of them. The lights were going, they were speeding, because we were all looking like, where are they going? Where are they going? Surely something big is going on.
Yeah.
And they rolled up on us, and they were like, you can't be open, you can't do this, you can't. We were like, where do you see people at?
Right, we're in the parking lot.
We sit in the parking lot. Clearly the doors are not open, the gates are closed, everything.
Yeah.
But they just really grilled us, and it was like, you can't be open, and we're like, we're not open, we're sitting outside, we're talking in my car, we're kind of trying to strategize where we're going here, because we don't know what to do.
Because the whole business has been shut down.
Exactly. Yeah, everything was shut down. So it was a very uncertain time. It was a very scary time. So that was difficult, but still did not compare to the very beginning when it was our hardest time. And the thing about that is that, one, we had no money, and I'm faced with a rent that's astronomical, inventory, staff, and all these things.
So, wait. You can't tell me you had no money. Sure, you were selling drinks. You selling alcohol.
Well,
How was it you don't have any money?
In the very beginning, at the opening time, no. So I actually had to go and attempt to borrow money, and it got to the point where it was like I called certain money desperate money, and so I had to borrow because I didn't have the credit. I didn't have any money set aside. And the thing is that the person that handed me the business, he had all the money. Then he ended up in some kind of situation, and then the money was cut off. And that's where I was given the opportunity. So I had to go and almost to a loan, what I would consider a loan shark.
Okay.
And he presented some options for me, and it turns out that one of those was with an attorney that I had worked with in the past with my marketing company.
Wow.
And so I had some trust there with him, and it turns out that it was some other things that took place with my pastor at the time.
Okay.
And everything came to a head with my pastor trying to take my business from me.
What?
It was
Whoa, pump the brakes, pump the brakes. You can't tell me the pastor was trying to take the club.
It got really, really bad. It got litigation. In the very beginning, for almost 2 years, I was constantly fighting. And I had a family member that was also helping to run the business because I was fighting and I needed somebody that I could trust. And then ultimately, even in that situation, that fell apart. She was stealing from the business.
The same person that was supposed to be helping you while you were...
Yeah, and a family member.
Oh my God.
Like a sister to me. And so we were almost out of business at that point in time. And I finally had to go ahead and say, hey, we can't work together anymore. So that hurt our family really badly. And as well, of course, the other situation. I had to fight through that, made it through it. It was a very devastating time of life. Yeah, so it got to the point where I literally, because I held him in such high regard and esteem, when I found out all of the circumstances behind what was going on with that, even that he had invested the money, I wasn't even in the know of it until court. And I learned from my attorney that the implications were tax evasion. You can't take money from a nonprofit and put it into a for-profit business. It was so many things. So I literally ran over there to try to say, hey, what's happening here? It can't happen. We've got to try to get this cleared up. And never did, do it. And I had been at that church forever. And I'd given so much, and I was a part of it, and it was just it was just a real challenging situation, and but we made it through. Here we are, still 11 years later.
What can aside from all the drama, and we can have a whole discussion. I mean, because like you said to me in the break, that this sounds like a TV movie. We need to make sure you secure the rights before somebody else does. But
I can't live my life.
what could you say that you really took from it, or what was a real lesson that you learned aside from all the heartbreak that occurred?
The lesson was trust. I'm a very trusting person. God did not give me the gift of discernment, so I think everybody's good, and I don't look at people in a suspicious way.
Okay.
But I did learn to stop being so trusting of everyone around me. Even to this day. I mean, so. I think certain things. Oh, they wouldn't do that, or they wouldn't do this. I had to get to the point where I had to stop believing that everybody is good, and just because I'm good or I'm for someone doesn't mean that they're good or for me.
That's a hard lesson right there. So have you put any procedures or anything like that in place so you can make sure you don't make the same mistakes that you made in the past in regards to that?
I can't say I've gotten to the point where I became so sheltered. And I started just doing everything myself. So when I bring in like the next GM or the next help, they're like, "Why are you're so hands-on, or you're a micromanager?" Because I'm in everything now. So whereas before, I let her run the business, and I didn't know what was going on in the business. Now, I know everything that's going.
Wait.
Yeah.
I just heard it. I just heard the street talk.
Yeah.
Because here's the thing. One seductive thing we have about businesses is that we can continue to grow, innovate, and work ourselves out of business, right? That's one of those taglines, that you're supposed to work yourself out of your business. But one thing you know as a business owner, and you have learned yourself, is nobody should be running your business but you.
You've got to know your business. You have to know your business.
There it is.
But you've got to also get to a point where, and this is something my business manager always tells me, don't let the business run you. You have to run the business. And I was doing that, and I'm still doing that. I'm being run by my business, and I'm working now to put other measures in place to get us in a place where we're a little bit more on autopilot, where I don't have to do so much because I am looking to do other endeavors. I'm looking at other things, other opportunities. I'm looking to expand, and so I have to step back and not be so hands-on. So I have got to start working on better processes and making sure that we can hire people that can come in and do the job without me being so hands-on.
Right, and that's all about, like you already said, it's all about building process. But one thing that I want to give you credit for is that not only are you in control, but you know what the controls are.
Yeah.
For your business. You know which different metrics to even view from Costa Rica, right? So you can know and keep people accountable.
Absolutely. We got cameras on every corner. I can get to anything I have to get to remotely. There's not an inch of that place that I can't see at any given time. As a matter of fact, I was up at 3 o'clock this morning. I don't know why I woke up, but I did. And so I got an alert from our ring that there was motion by our back door. I'd look, and there's two gentlemen over there at 2 something in the morning pulling on the doors. So I'm able to set a siren from my phone. I set that siren, and I got up and got in my car and went over there at 3 in the morning, strapped.
Ready.
I'm ready. So, and I'm just, your business becomes your baby, and I protect my business, and I do everything I can to protect my business.
Hey, we heard it.
Yeah.
We heard it. We had Miss Felicia Drake from Grooves of Houston's successful business for over a decade here today on Street MBA, dropping knowledge, dropping that street talk with us. And we're going to wrap it up in just a minute. I just want to thank her one more time for coming here on Street MBA. You're watching Street MBA. Stay tuned for our final segment.
Hi, my name is Amelia Young, and I am a breast cancer survivor. When I was diagnosed with cancer in 2016, I endured not only difficult physical challenges, but also mental challenges such as anxiety, depression, anger, and a great uncertainty about the future. In 2017, I went into remission, and I decided my goal was to provide to women like me a supportive and nurturing place to retreat, recharge, and heal. That is why I created Sumantra Holistic and became a breast cancer mentor and healing minister. I know from experience what you and your loved ones are going through, the sadness, the fear, the anger, and I know how to mentor you and yours during these difficult times. Let me help you. Let me be part of your holistic healing process. Let's walk this path together towards peace, health, and mental balance.
Change the future and you're driven. Change the way, your passion and your spirit. You gotta change the world with one word, with the power of your soul. Because the magic is in you. You have the chance to change the world.
Welcome back to Street MBA. Listen, I'm still trying to, I know I do this every single episode after I have a great interview, and I don't know if I've had a bad interview yet. I felt energized and a new perspective each time after having visited with these people. There's a different energy that everybody brings, and it's important that that same energy and vibe is created here. We didn't even get an opportunity to speak with Ms. Drake about what it is to create a vibe. I don't know about you, but there are lots of restaurants and places to go out there, but not every one of them is filled. You ever thought to yourself what distinguishes one place from another? Listen, it's actually a location. And I just thought about this as I was talking, but there's actually a location here in Houston, Texas, on Richmond and Chimney Rock. I personally, within the last 4 years, saw 3 businesses at this one location. 3 very distinct businesses. Now, I have to be honest, I haven't been into that business not one time, not that particular location, not one time. So all of the businesses that have been there, I have not actually patronized. However, I have been observing. And in the midst of my observation, because I ride, because I live in that area, so I ride past that location all the time, literally, once or twice a week. And like I said, there were two businesses there prior that I saw come and go, obviously. They did not remain. But I only bring it up for this. The third business has been successful through the pandemic. They actually were established in the middle of the pandemic. They established that restaurant, and immediately, once the name of that particular restaurant, club, venue, whatever you like to characterize it as, the moment that name went up there, I saw the crowd show up. It was literally inexplicable. They weren't even, because listen, the color of the business today is a different color than it was when they first started it, no more than a year and a half ago. If it's been 2 years, then I'll be totally blindsided by that fact right there. But my point to you is this, is that they brought something different to that building. Those entrepreneurs, those founders of that particular venue in that location, in that particular club, whatever you want to call it, that venue, they brought something different. They brought a vibe, obviously, that the previous businesses did not. So you have something unique within you that you can bring. If you're bringing it with excellence, then people will come. Yes, location matters, because in fact, it's a great location. I didn't understand why the other businesses didn't survive. The only explanation I can have, because the only denominator is this, the people were shifted out. The management was changed. There was a different entrepreneurial spirit that was literally brought into the building. So that's the first thing we can talk about in reference to nightlife and restaurants and all those things, because listen, we're talking about product. Because if we're talking about selling insurance, we're talking about what insurance products you have. People can buy me all day, but if the insurance I'm selling is crap, then guess what? They're going to stop buying. They're going to stop doing business with me if the insurance company isn't paying their bills, right? It's about the product that you bring. You can have the most beautiful restaurant, but if the food tastes like boiled chicken, nobody's going to buy it. You're going to have empty seats in that restaurant. It's about the product. But what's something else that we learned from Miss Felicia? She told us that her business almost went out of business when somebody else had their hands on the wheel. Her business, now mind you, if the business would have failed, it would have been Felicia that would have felt the brunt of it, because her name was on it. Remember, she said the business was just given into her lap. All the responsibility was given unto her. The previous owner said, hey, I can't do it anymore. If you want to do it, go right ahead. So therefore, she had all the responsibility. She was going to be accountable if that business failed, but there was somebody else with their hands on the wheel. Another entrepreneur who I respect greatly told me this. He has 15 stores. The last time I talked to him over a year ago, he had 15 Domino's locations in and around the Houston area. And what he told me was that he went to those stores every single day. Every single day. Those locations saw his face. Every day. Yes, he had a regional manager. Yes, he has general managers of every store. Yes, he has assistant managers in those stores. Managers in training as well. But guess what? They saw his face every single day. He wasn't scheduled a time to necessarily be there unless, of course, he had a meeting with his managers of some sort. What I'm telling you is you got to have your hands on your business. Your people need to see your face, literally. They need to see your face. You can't phone it in. Because if you start phoning it in, somebody else is going to start taking control of your business. Somebody else is going to begin to put in little details or variables into your vision of what you believe your business to be. If you don't have your hands on the wheel, you need to be the CEO of your business. You don't have to necessarily be the chief operating officer. You don't have to necessarily be the person that's keeping people accountable for adhering to the vision. You pay somebody to do that, but you got to make sure that the vision is clear, and you have to make sure that they are adhering to the vision. Somebody has to be accountable to you to make sure that things are being done right. You heard Miss Felicia say that she got eyes on the cameras at all times. It don't matter where she is in the world. She's fully aware of what's going on at her venue. I told you of another gentleman. I didn't mention his name because I'm waiting for an opportunity to get him on the program. But I tell you, he himself told me from his own eyes, and listen, I rode with him in his vehicle as he traveled back and forth. He told me, listen, Jonathan, I don't buy a very expensive vehicle. I can certainly afford to have a very expensive vehicle, but I don't buy a very expensive vehicle because I'm going to put hundreds of thousands of miles on this vehicle going back and forth to my businesses. Why? Because my people need to feel my presence. That's even part of building the morale of your people. It's not about instilling fear in them that if I keep on showing up, they're going to always do their job like they're supposed to. That's not about that, although that accountability is important. What it's also about is that, listen, people want to know that you're working too. They want to know that the boss man is working. That they're not out here making you a whole lot of money while you sit up on the beach doing nothing. Who wants to do that? Huh? I've had a business owner tell me that she doesn't even let her people know when she's going on vacation. They don't know if or when she's going to show up to the office. Why? Because if they knew she wasn't coming, what do you think they would do? The street talk that we're trying to make sure that you catch is always have control of your business. You got to keep your hands on the wheel. Listen, I tell you all the time, we're talking principles here on Street MBA. We're teaching you about business. Yeah, we're talking about nightlife, but this principle applies to any type of entrepreneurial endeavor that you're going to involve yourself in. You got to know your business. We're talking about the other side of the game. Well, that's the other side of the game today on Street MBA. I want to remind you, subscribe to our YouTube, please. It's Street MBA. You can also watch us on terrestrial channels. We have Houston, San Antonio, College Station, also Atlanta, Chicago on the radio station and through our podcast. And we're also in Mexico City on Channel 8. The easiest way for the average person to catch us live is on the Roku, right? The Roku system on your television through the Boxcast app. You're going to search for Now Media TV once you get to the Boxcast app, and our show airs every Tuesday and Friday at this time at 6 p.m. Our block is about to change. Our time is about to change in the very near future, but it's going to be to our advantage. Actually, it's going to be in the evening. However, our show is going to run on a daily basis. So you're going to see some changes. You're going to see more opportunities to see us. And there's also opportunities for more sponsors as well. Because our content is going to be playing more often, that means if you're on the show, if you actually have a spot, a commercial spot as well with Street MBA, because you want the same audience that Street MBA is getting to, then it will be wise for you to get in now before we're running full time over and over and over again, because you know the more exposure you have, the more costly that is to be able to get in. So I encourage you now to watch us live. You can also watch us on YouTube as well. Again, we're trying to build a community there so we can have some discussions about the topics that we're bringing and the things that we're talking about on the show. So please stay tuned. You're watching Street MBA here on Now Media TV. Stay tuned. Stay with us. Talk to you soon.
This has been a Now Media television feature presentation. All rights reserved.